What's up, Menace soldiers on the Alliance? Welcome back to another Friday Funday. Today we have a video from What Culture, and their video is titled 8 Simple Fixes to Improve Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, depending on how you feel about The Last Jedi, whether you hated it or you loved it, I'm pretty much going to be reviewing their list and seeing what type of fixes they would come up with and if I agree with them or if I disagree with them. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please want to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Star Wars content. So with that said, guys, let's go. Let's see what they got here.
Number 8. Make the Praetorian Guards the Knights of Ren. This didn't need to be a major plot point, but including the Knights of Ren in some fashion would have at least made The Last Jedi feel like a natural continuation of The Force Awakens. My way of implementing the Knights comes from the first scene with Kylo and Snoke, back aboard the Supremacy. Snoke is discussing how Kylo is a rabid cur, and how he could be a problem.
A cur's weakness, properly manipulated, can be a sharp tool.
Right here, instead of the camera staying on Snoke's face, have it pan over the Praetorian Guards by his side, as Snoke discusses how these angry young minds are assumedly more easily swayed. It'd be more than enough for the fans to connect the dots, and The Last Jedi's visual dictionary could have confirmed any resulting fan theories. Number 7.
I think that's pretty cool. I kind of like that idea. I do feel like the Knights of Ren should have probably been mentioned in this film. I actually saw an interview one time where Rian Johnson was talking to the interviewee, and they asked, hey, where are the Knights of Ren? And Rian Johnson's like, pretty much, there's a lot of stuff going in this movie. I just didn't have time to really include them, so I just decided to keep them out. So I'm pretty sure JJ is going to deal with them in episode 9, show and actually make them come to the light and show them. Well, not come to the light side, but, you know, he's going to bring them out, and they're actually going to be in the next one. So I kind of agree with this, but also I kind of don't, because the Knights of Ren are really mysterious, and I don't want to see them all die like that. At least not like that, because as much of a fight as the Praetorian Guards put up against Kylo and Rey, they kind of still got like their butts kicked pretty fairly easy almost. And I kind of want to see like Knights of Ren be more badass and more scary. And I think they're going to be more like that in episode 9. But I'm kind of like 50-50 for this one. So, yeah.
Recut Luke's lightsaber toss. Now bear in mind this needs to be a simple fix, i.e. we can't remove Luke tossing the saber, as it's an intentional metaphorical action that solidifies his attitude towards the Jedi Order and the beginning of his arc in the film. We can cut around it though. There's already footage of Luke holding the lightsaber, Rey looking inquisitive and then confused. We just need a reshuffle and one new shot. Keep the slow shot of Luke holding the lightsaber with the slow zoom, and the expression of contemplation on his face. You then cut to the reaction shot of Rey looking confused from after the throw in the movie, as in my version, go from Rey's expression into a new close-up of the ground where Luke's lightsaber hits and rolls through center frame. Go back to the wide shot of Luke walking away past Rey, and we're done. The audience thinks, did he just... Rey is perplexed, Luke retains the seismic power of discarding the lightsaber, and the confirmation of where the weapon ended up can still come later on. All of this in a way that doesn't feel like a Saturday Night Live sketch. Number 6, the space grab.
Okay, I guess I agree with that. That's more like a stylish change. That doesn't really change the whole scene altogether, but that would make it more classy of a scene, I would say. But it's something like not that big of a change, so I don't see that doesn't have to be changed, honestly. That wouldn't like change for the good. It would just kind of change and just look a little nicer, I guess. So, but it wouldn't be that big of a difference.
Gravity issue. There are 2 parts to this that tend to annoy people, but one of which I can answer. First up, the bombs from the opening scene. Though yes, they're seen dropping through space, they first begin building momentum from inside Paige Tico's ship through simulated gravity. It can be assumed then that they continue through space because of this. To be honest, that's more than enough for me.
Duh.
The arcing
Did anyone
bolts
not
at
know
the
that?
end, though, they're more of an editing mistake. This gives the impression of an arc through space, despite, obviously, there not being any gravity. The fix is editing these blaster bolts so they fire straight, and then boom, no more gravity issues. Number 5. Use Akbar for the kamikaze.
Yeah, that was kind of them not really thinking. But my whole defense to that is that Star Wars' space is different from our space. The best example is you can hear sounds in Star Wars space, but in our space you can't hear sounds. So there is a difference in our spaces. So that's just kind of like my defense on that one. That's not that big of a thing, but I did notice that too. So I feel like that's something that could be acknowledged, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. So I don't really see you don't really need to fix that, in my opinion.
Instead of Holdo. Granted, this is a little more than editing, but damn it, Akbar should have capitalized on his immortal memeness by being granted a fitting send-off. Instead, we got the utterly personalityless Admiral Holdo piloting the Raddus directly into Snoke's ship and its accompanying dreadnoughts. A hero moment that if it was given to literally anybody else, might have been remembered for something more than visuals. For the Admiral, we don't need him to do much else in the movie. His shtick is showing up for one big scene anyway. So when Holdo and Leia are discussing the need for someone to fly the lead ship, have him volunteer. Holdo can still stay behind for the sake of tying off her character, but keep the majority of shots on Akbar. Admiral Akbar is a walking quote that entire generations love to pay tribute to across a variety of media.
It's a trap!
He should have been given a way more fitting send-off. Number 4.
Okay, I agree with that one. That one's definitely a change. That would have, it wouldn't affect like the full narrative altogether, but Akbar should have been the one to do it. If it wasn't Akbar, it should have been Leia. Holdo, although I think that she's not as bad as the characters people like to say, she's still kind of like a boring character, though. I feel like she could have been done better, and I feel almost like that was a correct change. So I would definitely change Akbar being the one to take Holdo's spot. So I'll give that one a plus. That one gets a thumbs up there.
Reshoot Leia's fake death / flying scene. Oh god, this thing.
I'm very popular, y'all!
The problem isn't necessarily with flying Leia, it's more the way that the sequence is shot. That cut to the wide angle where she starts to move in tandem with the score just looked and felt a bit naff. It's the moment many audiences reportedly laughed or sniggered. I mean, that's what happened in my screening, and I think it could be edited better whilst keeping the essence of what's happening intact. Lose the close-up of her getting blown out of the airlock for a start. Leave it in our minds as to whether she survived the explosion that comes from Kylo's backup squad. Then, after the battle, show her in space, slowly drifting, neither alive nor dead. Cut to that close-up of her hand as she starts flexing her fingers and the stars start to move, like how her movement is portrayed in the movie. Hold this shot as the background starts to speed up and she begins to move, letting the accompanying score hammer home the magnitude of what we all now know is Leia's first big Force moment. Utilizing the wide shots is where it gets hard, but I think cutting to them after the music has swelled would look and feel way better. Go from this close-up of the hand to the reaction shot of Finn, Poe, and Connix looking out the window, and then finally to the wide shot where Leia comes in to land. Hopefully, this wouldn't be as comical as watching her soar past the camera like Mary Poppins. Number 3.
I agree. I think that that's a good change. I think that scene gets a lot more hate than it deserves, though. I think it makes sense that Leia would know how to use the Force because it's been 30 years since, you know, Return of the Jedi. Luke probably would have taught her something, and especially considering she's from like one of the strongest Force lineages there has ever been. You know, I think it makes sense. So while I do appreciate that, it's another one of those things with him where it's a creative change that might improve the scene. Overall, it's still going to send the same message. So I'm just going to say like a half and half for that. No thumbs up, no thumbs down. Well, no thumbs up, no thumbs down. Just kind of in the middle. So, yeah.
Luke and Kylo clash lightsabers in the final duel. Here's a joke. What do you call a Star Wars movie without a clash of lightsabers?
Rogue One?
What? No! The Last Jedi. Now, obviously in the pursuit of innovation and progression, certain expectations and conventions of any established thing should be challenged. What really didn't sit well in The Last Jedi, though, was how Luke versus Kylo boiled down to the former dodging every blow instead of having a proper duel. Why? Because another plot twist needed to happen. Now, I and many can live with this being the case, but Luke's limbo mastering 90-degree backbend into an awkward CG pirouette wasn't great. Why couldn't we have had the final swipe that separates the pair and leads into Luke's monologue be a clash of lightsabers? Even taking the projection twist into account, we know that physical properties can be applied to Force projections as the dice Luke gives to Leia fall to the floor and get picked up by Kylo. If nothing else, it would reinforce how much of Luke's power is being used to maintain the illusion, giving further reason as to why he had to die at the end. Number 2, cut all the goof.
I agree, except for, in a way, I wouldn't actually have Luke do the projection. If I could change The Last Jedi, Luke would have used the Force to pull his X-Wing out of the water, like he failed to do in Empire Strikes Back, to kind of do a callback to that. Then he would have flew over to take down Kylo. Or, well, he would have lost, of course, but in his sacrifice, he would have pulled like an Obi-Wan, like sacrificing himself so other people can get away. I think that would have been a better scene. I still don't mind the scene. I think it's cool that he kind of taught like Kylo one final lesson before his death. But I do think it could have been done a little better. But I guess that's kind of how this movie is. A lot of things could have been done a little better. But I'm going to give them kind of like a... Just to improve it, I would say like this, their fix does improve the scene overall. So I'm going to give them a thumbs up for that one.
Goofy comedy. There is a lot of really goofy, awkward crap comedy in The Last Jedi, and it feels right out of the Disney guidebook on how to doctor scripts to make them more fun. Yay edition. Face-planting Hux, the reach-out comment being taken literally, Finn's pratfall when first waking in the Bacta suit, Luke's "alright, that is pretty much nowhere," reply to Rey saying she's from Jakku, ditch all of it. The movie simply doesn't need these scenes or any tone-shattering gags. A general sense of adventure and levity still comes from the way every other scene is shot. You know, like every other action movie in history? The comedy annoyed far more people than it worked on, and The Last Jedi would be infinitely better without it. And number one, give Luke his...
I guess so. I think that's pretty good. I kind of enjoyed the comedy here and there. There was some stuff that really didn't need to be in there, but it wasn't like Thor Ragnarok where they overdid it with the comedy. I think they did like an alright amount. They might have a little bit overdid it, but not like Thor Ragnarok where they pretty much threw comedy in every single corner here and there, especially in like dramatic scenes. Like dramatic scenes were still dramatic scenes, so I will give you a thumbs up for that. I do think that some of the stuff was a little like a little too Marvel-y, I'd say, for a Star Wars movie, but you know, I'll go a thumbs up, like kind of like a half thumbs up. We'll do that.
His green lightsaber. The easiest of the
Yes,
fixes.
I
Why
agree
wasn't
with
Luke's
this one.
lightsaber at the end green? Keeping it blue almost gave away the Force projection twist, as we literally just seen Kylo and Rey tear apart Anakin's lightsaber only minutes beforehand. We know he has the green saber because he almost murders Kylo with it during the flashbacks. So where was it in this final scene? Blue-sabered Luke versus green is a debate for the comments, but in terms of chronology, why wouldn't he use what is literally his weapon first seen in Return of the Jedi? Change the color of the blade, and we're good.
I agree with that one too. I do think that Luke should have had his green
First scene in
lightsaber.
Return of the Jedi. Change the color of the...
I get the whole idea, like that's why he had the blue. I feel like he did the blue to like symbolically show like, hey, this is my original lightsaber, and hey Kylo, like this thing just blew up, but like you're so angry right now you don't even notice. So it's kind of teaching Kylo a lesson with the blue lightsaber. But I do think overall we should have saw Luke with his green lightsaber, especially considering I'm a fan of the theory that Luke's green crystal lightsaber actually came, well, his green crystal from his lightsaber actually came from Qui-Gon's green lightsaber crystal. So I kind of like that, like they're both the same crystal. I like that idea, and I think that's cool to kind of like carry that theme throughout. Like Qui-Gon's lightsaber has lasted the entire saga, but you know, it's a Force projection, so that's how it goes. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Did you guys agree with their fixes? I did agree with many of these fixes, but I also kind of disagreed with a few, and then I was kind of just like in the middle with most of them. But I think a lot of these fixes would improve the film overall. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more Star Wars content. If you guys know any other videos that are like this that you want me to cover, kind of do like little reviews to see if I agree on them, let me know in the comments below. And if I use that idea in a future video, I'll give you a shout out. But that's it for now, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.